What up, what up, what up, T Squad? It's me, Keisha, and I am back with my Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 5, Episode 12 review. But before we begin, I want to address last week's episode that I missed because of the holiday. So the only part I'm going to discuss is the part that you all want to hear about, and that's my take on what happened between Mary and her son, Robert Jr. I thought that the moment was a very poignant one that hopefully, prayerfully will touch others that are suffering from addiction to get help. I think that Robert Jr. gave a voice to young men, women of his age group. A lot of the things that he said, I've heard myself being a mom. And it made me reflect on my own relationship with my own son. I think that Mary handled the situation as best as she could in the moment. I think that she was very understanding and supportive of him and very heartfelt, and that she just put everything out there on the line and laid her heart out and listened to her son. It was very sad to hear Robert Jr. say that he felt like he was a stain and that life for him was bland and he basically had no meaning. And I think that that's because he has no direction in life. You know, he's a rich, spoiled young man with no responsibilities, no anything. And I think that's part of the problem, the boredom of it all, not knowing probably what he wanted to do with his life, having high expectations to succeed, considering who his parents are and what they do. And I think that it was probably a lot of pressure on him. I'm happy to hear that he went to rehab for a month and that he's doing good. The young lady that he was dating, who is not his wife, she's in rehab as well. Mary said that she's still in rehab, which is great. But they still are seeing each other, unfortunately. But, you know, I just pray that the young man stays clean and sober and that he finds something that will motivate him to do better in his life. And I hope and pray that Mary and Robert Sr. give him more responsibility. I mean, it's time. He's 21 years old, I believe. It's time, you know. But I think that it was a beautiful scene. It was very touching. I cried myself. What really touched me was when Mary said to him, you know, I forgot what she said exactly, but when she was just telling him, like, you're my everything. You know, I saw a lot of myself in Mary at that moment, you know, and it was very sad to hear Robert Jr. also say that he thought about unaliving himself, but the only reason why is because of her. And it was when she said to him, like, if you ever did that, like, I would be no more. And once again, I've had these conversations myself, crying, you know, to my own. So I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. You never know what people are going through in their households. These kids in this generation are a lot softer than we were. And I think it's because our generation has raised kids where we didn't want them to have to struggle and work as hard as we did. And we have given them a lot and not expected a lot from them as far as responsibilities and drive and focus and all of that type of stuff. And it's like, it's a gift and a curse because we want to spoil our children. We want them to have the best of everything. But at some point, it becomes a detriment to their growth. And that's one of the things as a mother that I've had to go through with, like I said, my own. But I feel like with time, with patience, with conversations, probably therapy, counseling, family, individual, putting goals up ahead of you and making sure that you strive and work towards meeting those goals, that can change. It's changed in my household, you know, with my own child. And if he's willing, maybe that's something that, you know, we can talk about on this channel. But I just pray for Robert Jr. And I think that Mary will be surprised at how many people come to her and say, I'm going through this same thing as well with my own child. So shout out to Mary. I love her, have loved her from the beginning. A lot of people are just coming around on the Mary train, but I've been there tooting since season 1. I just love her, and I'm happy that the world is getting to see what I always saw in her from the beginning. But let's get into tonight's episode of Salt Lake City. It was a phenomenal episode. This episode will go down in history as one of my favorites as well. I was not expecting it to be so funny, so messy, and just so good. Like, this was Angie's episode. This was Angie's episode here. So Meredith is having her bat mitzvah, and we get to see her oldest son. I didn't know that Meredith had 3 children. I always thought it was the 2. So she has 2 sons and a daughter, and her son is 26 years old. He's a very private person. She says he lives in New York City. And I was like, okay, Meredith, I didn't know this, but shout out to her. Whitney and Bronwyn have a very awkward greeting to one another. And I was like, what's going on with them? I had to remember back to last week's episode. And it was because Bronwyn told Heather that Whitney, was kind of talking about her behind her back. I can't remember exactly what was said, but Heather shoot it off as, okay, it's not anything she hasn't said to my face. We've already had that conversation. It is what it is. But I feel like if it would have came from anybody else, she would have gotten mad at Whitney. But since it came from Bronwyn, she tried to act like it wasn't a big deal because she didn't want to give Bronwyn that moment. Right? So Whitney is annoyed with Bronwyn that she outed her to Heather. Bronwyn is mad at Angie for telling her to shut the F up at Mary's Breakfast at Tiffany's event and calling her a liar. They've been having their little spats here. Everybody is wondering, is Mary going to come? Nobody knows. We flash back to a scene with her and Angie at Mary's house in the kitchen. And Angie asks her, is she going to go? And she says she might, but she's more concerned with her family right now. They're going through something. And she breaks down and starts crying. And Angie's like, if you need anything, I'm here. I don't want to pry, but I got you. And Mary was like, eventually I'll open up to you. And it was just heart-wrenching to see Mary in so much pain and hurt. I know that feeling as a mom. I'm pretty sure a lot of you as parents have felt that. And it just made me want to hug her and love on her and everything. I love Mary. Also, I loved her last night on Watch What Happens Live. She's just so strong and just beautiful. And the glow up has been amazing. We then see Britney saying that she's mad at Angie because Angie, said that she was talking to 3 different men at the same time. And so she equated that to her saying that she's sleeping with 12. Let me just say this too. I've been seeing on the blogs, Britney out here doing a lot of trolling, and it's like, okay, you're acting weird. Like, you're a 40-something 50-year-old woman out here making diss videos and stuff and just doing the most, and it's very TikTok-y, and it's like, what are you doing? Like calm down. It's cute for the show, but in real, like, not in real life, but like doing all these videos and stuff, it's like giving very childish. And it's like, call your kids. How about that? Instead of picking up the phone to do these stupid videos coming at Bronwyn and whoever else. Like, girl, call your daughters. Build a relationship. Build a bridge. Get over it. But like, you're being weird. So she then makes a comment to the girl saying that that's probably what Angie was doing with Sean, sleeping with Sean and several other men. So they was like, ooh. Now mind you, she said this in front of Bronwyn. So Bronwyn says that she feels like Angie is an attention seeker because at every event, like, she's getting into it with somebody or kicking over a chair or pulling out a scroll. Like, she's just doing all of these things. And I agree. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? premeditated. The scroll, the kicking the chair. It's like, stop trying to have an over the top moment. Like, just be you. Like, Angie is best when she's just being herself and not trying to perform, you know? So it's time for the bat mitzvah. The ceremony is going on. You know, some people are crying and it's very emotional for Seth. And then Mary shows up, child. And she can't find the door. All of these windows are covered in these black curtains, so she can't see in, but they can see out, and they can see her peeking through the windows. Who's that peeking in my window? Wow, nobody now. She all like this, trying to see what's going on. Her shadow is outside of the blinds or whatever, and everybody like, is that Mary trying to peek in? Is that, what the fuck? What is going on? Meanwhile, Meredith up there, Perul, Batata, Mariata, Machata, Bilingo, Shana, Hakakara, Shakakan. And Mary up here, why can I see? Where is the door? What is going on? Child, when I tell y'all I screamed, if you follow me on Patreon and watch the episode with me, know that I screamed, okay? That was funny. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Mary don't even try. Everything is organic with her and just off the dome. Like, she wasn't even trying to be funny, but it was one of the funniest moments I've ever seen with this lady peeking through while this ceremony is going on. Hilarious. Mary gets inside. They finish the ceremony. It's time for the party, for dinner and all of that stuff. And Mary walks up to Meredith and congratulates her. Says, you know, let's have the conversation now. And she tells her, you know, I've never had a friend leave my house before. And they both apologize to one another and hug. And I love that Mary said in her confessional, now this is after the season has wrapped, when they do confessionals and all of that stuff, she said that she wanted to show up because religion, of course, is important to her, but Meredith is as well. And she really loves Meredith and considers her a really close friend of hers. And she says to Meredith, we've been through a lot together and I love you. I really do. And I don't want to fight with you. And you know that it's genuine from Mary, because Mary does not play around and be two-faced and all that. Like, it's either she mess with you or she don't. So the fact that she still showed up for you, despite how you did her, you know, says a lot. And the fact that she poured her heart out to Meredith also says a lot. It was a very beautiful moment, and it was a touching moment to see Mary once again wear her heart on her sleeve. And it's like, I just love her. I just honestly do. And I know right now things are still kind of rocky between them. Hopefully they filmed the reunion today, so hopefully they were able to mend fences and come back together. She also stated on Watch What Happens Live that all of the castmates reached out to her after last week's episode, except for Lisa. Now, her and Lisa do get into it this season. And from what I learned, Lisa makes a comment about Mary's son being a drug dealer. And Mary goes off and calls her son, the youngest one, the R word, retarded. Okay. And they get into it, but they make up, but I don't know what's going on now, whereas to why she didn't reach out to Mary and, you know, just say, hey, I'm here, da 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 da. I don't know. But we'll get more into that if and when it actually happens on the show. So Angie talks to Bronwyn, and she's trying to squash things with Bronwyn, but Bronwyn is standing on business and saying, until you give me an apology, I ain't got nothing to say to you. And so Angie tries to give her an apology, but it was a half-ass apology, and they going back and forth, arguing. Todd comes over and was like, basically, we're not doing this. Let's separate, young ladies, and each of you go into your corners, right? And he even offers to get Angie a drink. And Bronwyn was like, you're not going to get somebody to just call me a liar a drink. We're not doing that. So he escorts her away. And he was trying to tell her that, you know, I tried to be there for you or something he was saying. And she was like, I know, Ty, but, you know, she was just pissing me off and da-da-da. And baby, he was like, I'm leaving. Like, he was so upset and mad with Bronwyn for getting hyped up and having this moment at this event. And it's like, sir, this is what the girls do. This is what they get paid for. Let her cook. Like, it's real life, but it's not real life. Everything is heightened. Todd, sit your old ass down. Have a Grand Marnier. And pipe it down. Sit down and let her work, child. But he getting upset with her. And here go Heather in the background looking. Because, she want to have anything on Bronwyn to prove that her marriage is in trouble or everything is not good over there. Like, she enjoyed every second of it, honey. Every second. So then Britney and Bronwyn have a truce. And Britney says, I can't believe we're friends. We're going to be friends for a hot minute or whatever. Not even knowing that hot minute was really going to be a hot minute. Like, she spoke it into existence. So Bronwyn and Angie, Lisa, and Britney and Mary are all at the table. And Bronwyn and Britney are coming at Angie. And at some point, Bronwyn was like, I'm going to be messy and tell you what Britney said. She said that you probably were the slutty one when you were dating Sean or whatever. And so Angie was like, oh, really? You think I'm the S word? And she was like, I mean, you the one that said I'm sleeping with 12 guys. She was like, I didn't say that. I said 3. And Lisa was like, well, like, that's not better. And so, Bronwyn in her confessional says, Britney wanted to be friends for a hot minute. I gave her a solid 5. Yo, that tickled me because that truce was over real quick. And at first, and what's the bitch name? Britney tried to deny it. She was like, wait a minute, what? Why would you say? And Bronwyn was like, girl, you said it outside. Don't play. So then Angie was like, I don't look like I have a high body count, and I don't dress like I have a high body count. I don't wear my hair like I have a high body count. And so everybody was like, ooh, like, you gonna let her say that to you? Even Mary was like, work, Angie. So Britney was like, do you think my hair looks cheap? And Angie was like, it looks a little pornish, your hair. And Britney was like, do you really mean it? It was do you really mean it? Like, why would you ask somebody, do they really mean it? I mean, her hair was dry as hell. The hairstyle wasn't that bad, but the hair itself was dry. Girl, you need a good treatment. And even at some point, here go Lisa talking about you do need like a keratin mist or something, whatever. I know the brand she was talking about, but yo, it was funny. So Angie says, this does not look like high body count hair. This doesn't, that doesn't, that doesn't, that doesn't, that doesn't. But that looks like high body count hair. That's a high body count dress. Those are high body count heels. And Britney was like, you know what, Angie? Fuck you. I'm done. I'm gone. And so she stormed off. And so she goes over to Whitney and that other girl that was a friend of this season, Maeli, or whatever the chick name is. Child, I done forgot all about her. We ain't even seen her in the last few episodes, child. But she goes over there and tells them what was said. And the girl Maeli or whatever was like, Angie, like, it got ate up too. Angie says, it's a bump it. And yours is a little bit too. And the girl was like, oh, because they both had humps. Baby, I have never seen Angie read down like that, honey. She said, this is not a high body count dress. This ain't high body count hair. These ain't no high body count boobs. Like, baby, Angie served on a platter. Now, when it comes to some hair, she will read you down to the ground. Meanwhile, Britney that ran behind the curtain crying or whatever, talking to Chloe and Brooks or whatever. They was like, oh my God, that was so mean of her. You're not a slut. My mom said you weren't. No, you're not. And your hair is fine. It's fine. Yeah. You're okay. Stop crying. Yeah. Then she come back in, still saying, I'm about to go. And Meredith was like, what's going on? And she was like, Angie slut shamed me. She slut shamed me. And here go Meredith, finally having a moment. She act like a human being the whole episode. And she had to go there and have a little moment. Somebody had to do it. She was like, no, I'm sick of this. She wants to talk about everybody. She wants to shame everybody and mom shame everybody. Angie, you and your husband can go. Security, security, security. Escort them out. Security. And Angie was looking like, the fuck? She was like, you don't even know what was said. She was, I don't care what was said. Security, get them out of here. Seth, get him out of here. It was like, what the fuck? So Sean come in and was like, girl, I done got kicked out of Better Places. Let's go. And so security hands Angie a fur coat. And she was like, this ain't my coat. This Britney coat. And threw it on the ground, child. I hollered. So they get escorted out. Angie is super upset about everything. Lisa and Mary go check on her. And that's when it's discussed that they're going on the cast trip to Puerto Vallarta and that Lisa is hosting it, child. But everybody mad at everybody. Everybody is beefing. So this trip is about to be crazy town. And I don't think that Mary goes on the cast trip. It doesn't look like she was there. She probably stayed back because of what was going on with Robert Jr. Or maybe she's going to show up late. I don't know. But this was a fantastic episode. The girls ate down, okay? And it was just super funny. But you guys let me know what y'all thought about this week's episode down below in the comment section. I'm going to give it an A. I'm going to watch it again. It was that good. Let's talk about it once again. Please make sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your post notifications so you know my videos drop. Also, you guys, if you have not joined me over on Patreon, right now we are watching the new show Cross based on the Alex Cross novel series. And we're on episode 5 tomorrow. Yes. So you can watch episode 1 through 5 as of tomorrow with me. The show is so good. It is a thriller starring Aldous Hodge. So good. Okay. So good. All right. So we're watching that over on Patreon. And of course you get to watch along with me with all the Housewives shows and everything and the Zeus Network show. So join me over on Patreon. The link is down below in the description box. Love you guys. Peace.